Welcome back. Well, long-time SBS Managing Director Michael Abid left just last month after 7 years running the broadcaster. He was replaced by his COO, James Taylor, who's been with SBS nearly as long as Abid was. Taylor hosted his first major SBS event this week. That was the 2019 Upfronts. The new TV leader talked to Mediaweek's James Manning about his old boss, his management style, the efficiency review that's currently underway, and what we should look forward to on our screens next year.
James, welcome to Your Money. Now, you've been SBS about 6 years. As the new Managing Director, though, for just about a month?
Correct, yes. It's a real privilege.
We should ask you, have we got a different style? You've worked previously with Michael Abid, of course, but have you got a different style? Do you specialise in things that he mightn't have had?
No, I think Mike was, by any accounts, an incredibly successful managing director. I've been part of the SBS executive team for about 6 years. I think we're just going to keep moving forward confidently. We've got a strong sense of who we are as a network. We've got a strong sense of our role in the market, and we're really confident and happy with where we are at the moment, as evidenced by today's upfronts, which were really well attended, really clear about our proposition, really successful event in my mind.
Now, this, of course, is where you outline your strategy and your content for the next 12 months. Just talk to me in round terms about those revenues. So you operate on a total budget of around 280 million?
Yeah, we have government revenue of the order of 280 million. We add to that about $120 million of our own commercial revenue, so a total operating budget in the order of $400 million a year.
Okay, and that money you generate yourselves, mainly advertising revenue you mentioned, how's that been tracking the last couple of years?
Well, we're quite proud of our ad sales team. I mean, in a challenged and cluttered market, we've been able to maintain our position in the market, grow our revenues year on year, and of course, the wonderful thing about SBS is that all that money that we generate through commercial revenue is reinvested in content, particularly first-run Australian content that we make with the local production community, telling multicultural and Indigenous stories otherwise untold. So we're really proud of our capacity to take that money and do something really productive with it.
And your content spend seems to be, is it roughly fall 50-50 between what you commission yourself and acquisitions?
It varies from year on year. Obviously, we love showcasing the world's best content. We are also particularly passionate about getting as much money into Australian stories as we can, telling different stories creatively, boldly, telling stories that aren't being told on other networks.
There's an efficiency review underway currently, which is going to look at both the ABC and SBS, how you spend the money. You would have sort of been through this before, earlier on in your career at the broadcaster?
Yeah, indeed, and in fact before the review started we had a review in 2014 which I think unequivocally demonstrated SBS's efficiency, and that of course is because we've got a culture of efficiency. Our last 6 years has been about identifying any and all opportunities to be more innovative in our approaches, to reduce wastage across the organisation, and to take all that money and reinvest it in things that matter to audiences. More content, more unique storytelling, better digital services to make sure that we're available to as many Australians as possible and that we're seeing as being vital and valuable in pursuit of our purpose.
Are there any concerns within the organisation about sort of what might come from that review?
No, I mean we treat these things really seriously. We're a public organisation. We are open to scrutiny. We believe we've got a really strong story to tell from an efficiency perspective. So we are treating it professionally and seriously and working through the process as you'd expect us to.
You've had a few hits in the last year or two, which sort of annoy some of your competitors a bit, but you're sort of quite proud today, and you said you're not going to shy away from the things that attract your big audiences.
Well, I think as I said, we're a public good. We're here for all Australians. We're so passionate about our purpose. We want to contribute towards Australia's vitality as a more inclusive society, a society held out for the respect we show one another, our understanding of one another. And so therefore it's really important to us to reach as many Australians as possible with our purpose-led distinctive content. 91% of our audiences tell us they find content on SBS they can't find anywhere else. We're so proud of the content lineup we've got for 2019. You would have seen us launch our new brand position, A World of Difference. We think that says a lot about what SBS brings to the market, distinctive product proposition in a cluttered and competitive market.
Just on that, your audience versus commercials, your ad team today were telling people that around 60% of your viewers don't watch a major commercial free-to-air station.
That's correct, and I think that really shows the power of our purpose. It shows our distinctiveness. We're really proud of that.
And you mentioned the clutter is something that the advertisers can use effectively, you think. Of course, you did try and get a few more minutes per advertising per hour, but you think you can use this to your advantage, sticking with the maximum of 5 minutes?
Well, I think, we believe that 5 minutes is the right place for us at the moment. Presents a low clutter environment, it allows the content to shine. It certainly meets the satisfaction of audiences, so we're really happy with our current position.
There was a claim today, I think Marshall, your head of content, talked about that other people watch what you do, maybe copy your successes. Is that what's happened with your Food Network perhaps? Now you've got a free-to-air competitor in that space.
Look, we welcome competition. We had a strong relationship with our previous content supplier, with the Food Network. We've plotted our own course now. We think SBS Food is a logical pivot back which respects the 30-year heritage we have of exploring culture through cuisine. We think it aligns that on-air brand with our on-demand and digital propositions. We're really excited about bringing a premium, fresh approach to food on linear television. Really excited about what the opportunities of next year presents on that channel.
It seems to be you'll be pushing ahead with maybe a little bit more food commissioning locally now, that should be relying on that some more. You've got a new food night to push those programs as well?
Yes, we do. Food's a really important part of our heritage. I think you sort of announced some really excellent and exciting food content. It remains a fantastic way to interpret the world, culture through cuisine, and we're really pleased with our lineup.
Again, some big claims about the on-demand. You've got to think over getting towards 6 million registered users now, and some statistics there that show it's got the most unique users, the most popular on demand against amongst the commercial offerings.
Absolutely, that's data provided by third parties independently from SBS. As you said, we've got 5.7 million registered users across our digital platforms. We're seeing massive growth in SBS On Demand, and importantly, SBS On Demand is doing things that others in the market aren't. If you look at the mix of content, it is truly unique, truly distinctive. 75% of the dramas in SBS On Demand are in a language other than English. And I'm also proud of some of the innovative new approaches we're taking to commissioning. We're commissioning 15 unique short-form commissions for the On Demand platform, which really focuses on giving platform to diverse content makers, people in front of and behind the camera that might not otherwise have found representation on a scale platform. We're really proud of that. It's so consistent with who SBS is and what we all care about.
Talk to me a little bit about the content and your role as the new managing director. How hands-on do you get in sort of big commissions and strategies?
Well, I think like any managing director or CEO, my focus is making sure that the decisions we're taking are in connection with the strategy. We've got such a strong team there, a very experienced team, people that understand our role, they understand the tone of our content. I think my focus is on making sure that the teams are supported with everything they need, that we've got strong confidence in the organisation, and that we've got an environment that lets our creativity take flight. I'm really focused on making sure we've got a really inclusive workforce, because through inclusivity, through diversity in the workforce, the best ideas take flight. That'll be my focus.
It's hard not to be impressed and like your cheeky marketing strategy for your new Slow TV coming in January. I think it started today with a few screens of social media commentary about how bad your first attempt was, and you got up and said, now we're going to give Australians more of what they don't want.
Yes, I know. It's somewhat paradoxical, isn't it? But I mean, the fact is that Slow TV was a huge success for us. It provided a real point of difference for audiences, perhaps a bit of escapism. We'll be providing more of that next year.
Yeah. And also a big ambitious play is maybe a big quiz show at 6 p.m. weeknights, bringing back Mastermind, which I guess a generation or two of Australians probably won't know.
Yeah, and it's a modern new take on a well-trusted format. We'll be announcing a host soon. I think you'll be excited by our announcement.
Okay, is it? You've made the decision though internally, have you?
I certainly don't want to steal anyone's thunder. The team will kill me, but I think you'll see that it's someone that really resonates with SBS. Will really resonate with our audiences. Okay.
Not a lot of new drama. I think 2 new drama series. I guess you often commission during the year, so maybe that will happen too. But is it getting hard to get big audiences for new dramas on SBS? Because you've had some crackers this year that maybe underperformed a little bit.
Yeah, look, I mean, drama's a complex but important storytelling medium for us. I think that what we do is we let the ideas take the lead. If we feel like an idea is developing well, then we'll bring more drama to air. Of course, drama's a very expensive format, and as a broadcaster that doesn't have massive resources, we're always constrained in our decision making. So we'll always be seeking new ways to inject more money into our schedule, and with more money will come more of everything, including more drama.
You've got a lot of brands that you look after, of course. NITV is one of them.
Yes.
We didn't get to hear a lot about that today, but still an important part of the lineup.
A critically important part, and we're so proud of the work NITV does. We're so proud to have it as part of the SBS family. And just draw on one program that's really moved me, which was Little Jane Big Cuz, an animation targeted at young Indigenous children, allowing young Indigenous children to see themselves reflected positively on screen, in their community, in their families, in their school, and also allowing non-Indigenous children to see Indigenous children reflected on screen. That won a Logie for us this year. We're so proud of that. We're going to continue to do more powerful Indigenous content by Indigenous for Indigenous audiences.
Yeah, it must be great to get that recognition for that, that content. Tell me a little bit about SBS News. Of course, it's your flagship bulletin every night of the week, isn't it?
Yes,
6:30 p.m.
It is correct. Yeah, and Janice Peterson was on stage today talking about it. We're proud that Anton Ennis has returned for the weekends. Look, the news product for us just goes from strength to strength. It's a real beacon in the Australian media landscape, I feel, really bringing perspectives and stories that aren't seen elsewhere. We're so pleased by the power of the digital proposition there. We're engaging with many more Australians. That digital capability gives us a lot of flexibility in how we break stories to audiences. We think that's an offer from SBS that underpins our trust as a network, our authenticity as a network. It's so important for who we are as an organisation.
I was just thinking, is that SBS app an economic way of maybe getting the news out to a lot of people, where it can be expensive, can't it, producing a TV news service?
Well, I think the app is an additional cost in reality for the organisation, but what's really important to us is that we continue to use digital to serve our audiences in a nuanced way, in a way that's relevant to them. Clearly, audiences want to consume news in digital formats, so we want to make sure that we have a proposition which is market to market, which is compelling, and which showcases the strength of our news proposition.
Just finally, I mean, give us a bit of guidance. How is it fair to judge SBS's success? Let's talk about 2019. I mean, it's a little bit more than ratings, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, every decision we make is sourced from our purpose. We genuinely believe in contributing towards more inclusive Australian society, a society marked out for respect and understanding of one another. So I think we should be judged by how clear our proposition is, by the confidence in our storytelling, and yes, by the impact that we make on our communities. We serve 68 language communities. We're so proud of those relationships. We want to be a vital and important part of their connection with the broader Australian society. And we also want to be serving as many Australians as possible, because we're a public good. We believe so passionately in our purpose, and we want to share that purpose with as many Australians as you can.
Do you ever feel that you can't win either way, though? If your audiences aren't big enough, your opposition and your critics will say, look, it's not relevant, we don't need it. If they get too big, a lot of your opposition's going to say, look, they're stealing our thunder.
Well, look, we welcome commentary and criticism. It's part of the role of the media organisation. We're a communications organisation after all, and it's part of the role of leading a public asset. Our focus is on delivering our purpose as effectively, as succinctly, as clearly as we can. We're so proud of the team we've got. We've got an incredibly passionate and engaged workforce. We think in a world of polarising views, our purpose has never been more important. We think there's a real opportunity for SBS to shine in 2019. We think we've got a great content lineup. We're really excited about the year that lies ahead.
James, thanks very much.
Now, it's James Manning speaking there with SBS Managing Director James Taylor. Well, there is plenty to talk about in the media space this week. James Manning from Mediaweek joins us now live at the desk this afternoon. James, it's an absolute pleasure having you on board. And obviously just hearing your interview there with James Taylor, that was one of the highlights this week. Sure. The other big highlight being the AGM, the Fairfax AGM, where we did see shareholders overwhelmingly approve the merger between Fairfax and Nine. What now? I guess what happens to Fairfax before it becomes the new Nine?
Yeah, well, look,
it went the way people expected on Monday. The shareholders did vote for the merger, takeover, however you wanted to word it. But there was a bit of excitement on the evening before, of course, when Anthony Catalano, the previous CEO of Domain, said he was going to try and block it. He had a better idea. He didn't think Nine was paying a premium for the Nine assets. The board met quickly about that on Monday morning. They didn't really even see it as an offer. They thought it wasn't enough detail. It was certainly very late in the piece.
They very quickly kind of swept it under the carpet, didn't they, at the AGM?
They did indeed. But apparently, Catalano said during the week, look, I'm not done yet. He still thinks he can sort of interrupt the sale process. It's still got to be ticked off by a federal court before that can actually take control of the company. He's detailed some of the things he'd sell off. He thinks the radio's going too cheaply. He could get a good price for that. Stan, he thinks, is probably worth around $300 million. I've got a fair feeling Fairfax and Nine probably think it's maybe even worth a bit more than that to them. So yeah, he does have another plan, he thinks. It still seems a very long shot. It would be very unlikely for him to derail it at this stage, I think.
Certainly still some rumblings, as you say, and perhaps he's not finished yet, so we will continue to monitor that one. But of course, looking like that final federal court approval, that's kind of the only hurdle to go at this point. Now, the other news this week was the former News Corp Australia CEO, John Hartigan, has actually retired, and that announcement also came at the AGM this week. Yeah,
at the Prime AGM, he was the chairman there. His most recent role, he's still on a few boards and things like that. He said he's going to look, he wants to spend a bit of family time, a bit of me time, as you do at that stage in your life. He said he wants to do what other people are doing, having a bit better time. He said he will keep his hand in those. I think he's going to keep some of the directorships perhaps. But of course, yeah, look, a long career as a journalist. He rose up through the ranks at News Corp, ran the Australian operation for a long time and went through that whole transition from print to digital. A lot of that happened under his watch. And yeah, a lot of people will be wishing him well.
All right, fantastic. Let's move on to the ratings, the TV ratings for this week, starting with free-to-air, actually. And I guess it's a couple of the same culprits that creep in there, being 9 News, 7 News, a couple of the ABC programs as well. But James, we don't actually have the graphics, unfortunately, but topping off the list was actually The Bachelorette. Yeah, final of The Bachelorette. Yeah. It was actually just the little last, they break it up into the reveal of who's actually won, and that's the thing we're looking at there at the top of the charts. But it was a good win for 10. And so we then had 9 News, 7 News, a couple of those others, Four Corners, Australian Story. Four Corners was that the look at the internal, turmoil within the ABC with Michelle Guthrie and then the chairman both leaving in the space of a few days there. What about the subscription TV, the cricket was rounding out the top 2? Yeah, look, we're getting the pointy end. I think the first game against India was this week, so we're not too far away from the first test. So I think Foxtel will be quite happy with those numbers they're getting for those Fox cricket audiences. And of course, they've got the Kago, they've released that sort of streaming service for sport, which a lot of people might be tempted by if they're not going to pay for the full Foxtel subscription. All right, and then it wasn't just the sport that was in there. We had Love It or List It on Wednesday on the Lifestyle Channel, and then the Bolt report for Sky News on Monday. It was good seeing Sky News getting in the top 5, and Bolt, been a bit of speculation if he'd be stepping down, but he's said this week, no, look, he's staying with his show, and so he's not going anywhere just yet. All right, fantastic. James Manning, always a pleasure. Really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much. That was media editor of Media Week, James Manning, joining us there.